Good morning. This is Matt Groover here with you. I wanted to share with you a little bit about the stuff that comes out of us. And in the midst of struggles and pressures and challenges, we may often wonder what God's will is. And one of the things that helps me is that I know in my life, at the very basic level, God wants good stuff to come out of my life, regardless of what my struggle is. And that doesn't mean I won't go through discouragement or maybe even depression or experience the emotions of anger and heartache and being worried occasionally. But in the midst of those things, if I want to know what God's will is, the first thing I go to is the fruit of the Spirit. Because if I'm walking with God, those things should come out of my life. Do they always? No. I can assure you they don't always come out of my life. But I know that's God's design and God's will. So the fruit of the Spirit is stated in Galatians 5:22, and I want to read it. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things, there is no law. And as I consider those qualities, I think about like the wisdom of God. The wisdom of God is to flow out of my life regarding God's will. If I'm doing God's will, wisdom will be associated with it. And you see that in James. It says that the wisdom from above is first pure and peaceable. It's peaceable. That's one of the qualities of the fruit of the Spirit. So if I'm wondering about God's will and I can't manage to somehow, in the midst of moving into God's will, have a place where I come to express those qualities, I should step back and ask myself some serious questions. And say, hey, if I have to just say, I'm doing God's will, in a fit of anger, you may express that, I don't know, in some weird situation when you're really stressed. But if you're really wanting to convince your own heart that you are in the midst of God's will, peace must be the navigator. It doesn't mean that things going on around you won't be challenging. But those qualities of the fruit of the Spirit, those things only help me to move where God wants me to move, the way He wants me to move, with the effects that He wants me to have as I move. And that's so very important when we contemplate what it is that God's will is. Because that's what we're doing. We are purveyors of the gospel of peace through Jesus Christ. So look at those qualities and ask yourself some questions. Challenge yourself, because those are things that God moves through out of our lives. So blessings on you. Have a great day.